This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Minimal Case. Minimal is so excited about the Pixel 4, they're giving you 25% off your order for the brand new Pixel 4 case that you're going to pick up. The Pixel 4 is beautiful, and you want a case that is so thin and light, it'll keep that phone as beautiful as the day you bought it. And to make that even sweeter, here's 25% off your order. Just use promo code DIGITPIXEL4 at checkout, because this is a Digit Daily and you're celebrating the Pixel 4. But you can use this code for any case for any phone. Once again, go to mnmlcase.com and use promo code DGITPixel and the number 4 to get 25% off your order, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast. Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Doud here with your latest dispatch of tech news, and I owe you a bit of an apology. Yesterday, the podcast went out a couple of hours late, and there's a really good reason for it. You see, I don't want to get too technical, but we host our podcast through a third-party service that automatically converts our podcast audio files and descriptions into an RSS feed, which is then readable by your podcast player. It's a really complicated process of converting and processing and optimizing files, coding in HTML, and before any of that can start, I have to remember to push the publish button. So, yeah. It is October 23rd, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. It all started with a tweet. Now, there are two people in this world whose stories describing their latest antics could start off that way, and we usually only talk about one of them, and yes, this time, we're also talking about Elon Musk. Yesterday, Elon tweeted, quote, sending this tweet through space via Starlink Satellite, with a quick follow-up tweet of, whoa, it worked, which is kind of hilarious, but also kind of diminishes the impact of the first tweet. But still, Internet from space is the dream, and it may be closer than you think. SpaceX's goal is to bring satellite internet to the US by mid-2020. Now, I have to confess, when I first read that, I read that as mid-2020s, like somewhere around the middle of next decade, and I thought that was a fairly optimistic estimate. Like, yeah, maybe we could put enough satellites over the next couple of years to start testing, yada yada. But then when I sat down to do this podcast and reread it, I see now that they're not talking mid-2020s, they're talking mid-2020, as in June of next year. Mind blown. SpaceX CEO Gwynne Shotwell sat down with SpaceNews.com to talk about Starlink and Internet from Space. Apparently, when someone orders Starlink, they'll get a box with a user terminal and a cable. Presumably, this will be similar to a cable modem or router that an Earthbound ISP installs at your house. How the signal gets from Starlink to this user terminal is a little fuzzy on the details. Will there be a dish? Will there be an antenna? If you put it near your dog run, will your dogs grow any extra tails? There are a few unknowns here. What we do know is that Elon has a terminal in his house, and Shotwell says that Musk is going to want that terminal to be beautiful, because of course he will. My question is, if you're planning on covering the entire United States in 8 months, how do you not have this terminal designed and already in the manufacturing plant? Then again, this is coming from the same guy who said full self-driving capability is already in his cars, when it's totally not. So my only question is, when will we get the "oops, we meant 2021" press release? Because mark my words, that press release is coming. SpaceX will need a total of 6 to 8 launches and deployments of Starlink satellites to cover the US, and that includes the one that we covered back in May, so math tells us that that's 5 to 7 more launches in 8 months. Shotwell knows where space is, right? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. Wikipedia, and let's face it, Wikipedia is never wrong, says that SpaceX has 4 launches of Starlink satellites scheduled for next month alone, so Godspeed, I guess. I still say that there are a lot of logistics to be worked out before this can be a consumer-facing product, including technicians, technical support. I mean, can SpaceX even process credit card payments at this point? We don't know. I'm just saying it's one thing to say, you need to launch 5 more rockets. That's the big sexy stuff. But small decisions, like where is your office going to be? Where are you going to store the extra jugs of water for the water cooler? Those decisions have to be made too, and if we don't even know what the user terminal is going to look like yet, I don't think we're ready for the water cooler board meeting. I'm just saying, best of luck, SpaceX. Who knows? Maybe someday the Digit Daily will come to you from space. I just don't think it'll be in 2020, so that's all I'm saying. So while SpaceX convenes to discuss the water cooler positioning logistics, let's head into the roundup! The U.S. government added Huawei to its entity list and banned the sale of Huawei smartphones in the U.S. and encouraged its allies to do the same. And it's at this point that I should also mention that this isn't just about Huawei phones, it's about the actual telco infrastructure equipment. But this story is all about phones because Huawei is selling a ton of them, crossing the 200 million mark 64 days earlier than it did last year, and that's with the ban. Huawei surely is a force to be reckoned with, so we'll have to see how things stand around this time next year, but either way, yowza. And speaking of smartphones, the LG G8X ThinQ with its second screen coming in the box is priced at just $699, which, given everything this phone offers, is a mighty compelling price point. The G8X boasts flagship specifications, and about the only thing it loses from the standard G8 is the hand gestures, which honestly didn't really review very well anyway. The phone is available unlocked starting November 1st, with pre-order starting on October 25th, and I would have a hard time giving you good reasons to not get one. And hey, it's cheaper than the Pixel. Here on the Digit Daily, we have a thing for calling out terrible names of products. So when Android authorities Nick Fernandez wrote up a piece called the 15 Worst Android Phone Names Ranked, my ears perked up for sure, and Nick delivers an absolute home run. Give it a look and prepare to giggle and groan, both at the names and at Nick's sense of humor, because when you have to write a paragraph about something called the Motorola Quench, trust me, you need a sense of humor. This may seem counterintuitive, but Amazon is expanding its counter stores. No pun intended. Amazon Counter is a retail location where you can go to pick up your packages if you don't find home delivery to be convenient, or if you don't feel like leaving packages outside your home is safe, which apparently my neighborhood is not anymore. Lots of reports of packages being swiped off of front porches lately. Fortunately, I work from home, and my dogs are sure to let me know if any package handler approaches my front door. But if you don't, you can now redirect your packages to your local GNC, finally giving you a reason to visit your local GNC. So, you remember Adam Neumann, the CEO of WeWork, who drove the company into the ground by making stupid and completely avoidable decisions like, leasing his own property to the company that he runs, stuff like that? Remember how I gave him a very brief "he gone" a couple weeks back? Well, it turns out that wasn't the end of his story, because Neumann is out as CEO for sure, but he's taking $1.7 billion with a B dollars with him as he walks out the door. Now, so we're clear, by all reports, Neumann drove WeWork into the ground, and WeWork will be laying off 2,000 workers just as soon as it scrapes enough pennies together to cover the severance. Meanwhile, SoftBank is paying Neumann $1.7 billion just to leave and don't come back. And hey, SoftBank, if you're looking for a new CEO to make bad decisions and drive a company into the ground, call me. And finally, a Redditor asked the question, what do the rich buy that the poor don't even know is available for purchase? And the resulting thread is as gobsmacking as you can imagine it. You know what? Let's play a little game. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to come up with the most outrageous, insane idea that you can come up with, starting now. Okay, now go ahead and read that thread and bring a shovel to pick your jaw up off the floor after reading some of this stuff. It's just, yeah. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Doud, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.